welcome back to Dark Days Radio, and this is another Warmachine unboxing, and this time we are looking at Frozen and Forgotten, the new two-player set, which contains the new Orgoth Graveborn and the Dusk Final Hunt. So this is quite interesting. They're plastic models. They're two essentially new factions. We've got Nis Elves with War Beasts, so reminiscent of some of the stuff, some of the designs, some of the styles we saw for the Nis Elves all the way back with Legion of Everblight, but with War Beasts that are not Dragonspawn. Then also with the Orgoth, we've got another undead faction in essence, and this is callbacks to designs that we've seen of Orgoth who were buried in their tombs that we've seen from the Witchfire trilogy. So it's all old, new, and new, if that makes sense. So have a look. Let's have a look at the sprues. And again, you'll see 360s eventually of these models put together, because my friend Mark will be putting together and painting the elves. I'll be doing the Orgoth Graveborn. And so you're going to see two different styles of painting, and eventually, hopefully, get an interesting bat rep out of us at a later date. So let's get into it. So there's our box art, and I do think, I'm going to be honest, I think the paint jobs, the studio paint jobs of each time are improving for Warmachine, and we're getting some really cool stuff. Very interesting with the Orgoth, lots of glowy effects. The Nis Elves looking icy and cold. So, what have we got? Let's get into our first batch. So for the Orgoth, we've got a few sprues here, and there is also another sprue in another baggie. Always get these baggies for stopping bits going missing. So this sprue here is, there we go, there's a piece there. See, I said we don't want them to go missing. So this sprue has on it Warlock, and Anathia the Imperishable Desolation, so it has whips. And we also have on here the Execrator's character units, or at least some of them. So we've got here the body of Anathia. We've got the Charnel Hound, a light war beast, which is a mummified Argus. We've got one of the Execrators here. You can see the little faces, typical of the Orgoth, on all of their weapons and armor. Big face on the shield. Look how chunky the designs are. Not covered in rivets, but lots of space to do effects on. I'm mostly going to use lots of the nice scale 75 metallics on these, to be perfectly frank. There we go. See that shoulder pauldron? Got a big face, girding demonic faces. Girding demonic faces on everything. Nice chunky sword with some scratches and scarring to give it a weather-beaten look. Cool. That's one sprue down. Next sprue is going to be the other two models that make up the Execrators. So again, we've got the same style of design with these shields with the big faces, and they've got spears to throw and damaged swords, armor, tattered cloaks, horned helmets, and skeleton faces somewhere. There would be in here somewhere, I'm sure. Yeah, there we go. There's the face. There's a skeleton there. And notice all the parts are numbered in order of how you construct the model. So, for example, J3 covers all models of J, whereas we've got K covers all models of K. Then here we've got our Orgoth champion, a Revenant champion. Absolutely massive. Look at the size of this axe. Got all these skulls that you can paint with a glowy effect. Same with the sword here. Lots of chains. Again, look at this body. Body's got these big Orgoth gurning faces on it. Of that represent the demonic masters that they venerate. So he's cool. He's wicked. Love him. Now, the other sprue happens to be in the other bag, so be careful if you're splitting this with a friend, because you'll want the other sprue out of this. So we've got here the Orgoth War Beast, which is the Barrowghoul. So the Barrowghoul has a body, an armoured body, and within it are skeletons. You've got these that are on the shoulders that broses that burning kind of flame effects. So here and here, this big mace, and then this here is going to be these must be the shoulders, if I'm not mistaken, for which the arms fit into. Again, lots of big pieces. Nice easy build, really. Minimal mold line issues at all on these. Pretty well hidden, I think. Yeah. Okay. So then, let's move on to the elves. Elves. Actual elves. So, let's see. So, first of all here, we've got our warlock here. Her big cloak, giant sword. Very kind of great sculpts on the face here. So, this is Lanissa Risil, Arunator of Sorrows. And the other cool thing is that both of these command cadres can be used as junior warlocks, solos, and the units themselves as well with them, and their war beasts associated with them can be used in your existing Orgoth and Dusk armies. So you've got just a different flavour that you can start building an army with, and also augment current armies. So these models here are going to be parts for the there's going to be a character solo, which will be Selena Rayfil, and then we've got the Last Watch, which is a unit. So that might be, some of the parts might be spread across multiple sprues at this point. F E G E G G G G F. So everything's kind of near enough seems isolated on their relevant sprues. Then we've got the parts of our two war beasts, which are kind of like big cats, again on tactical rocks to make them like dynamic. And these are Sasha and Benki. So again, here's the last sprue. And again, like I think the fur is done really well. Like it's not excessive, like too cartoony, too spiky. I've seen that happen on miniatures of other games. Characters with bows, that's cool. I think the solo has a bow. Or at least one of the watch. Great. Well, that is it. So I hope you've enjoyed watching this. We're going to have some 360s of the models recorded, and then we'll have them painted up. So that'll be a later date, and then hopefully have a bat rep involving these forces. I don't have an Orgoth army yet. Do I get an Orgoth army? Do I get an Orgoth command cadre and use these with them to make a small 50-point army? I don't know. I'm badgering Steamforged because I think the Orgoth would really suit being led by, as an alternate warlock, is Alexia Cianor, because the Witchfire. And if you've ever seen the artwork from Legends of the Witchfire or from the Witchfire trilogy, she quite happily can use the power of the Witchfire, her sword, to take control of the undead, and I think the Orgoth are perfect for that kind of look. Anyway, hope you enjoyed this video. Please like, subscribe, follow us wherever, comment, etc. And we'll be back with more in future. So goodbye for now.